All right, you're all good.
All right, thank you. All right, before we get into the training plan submission and guide and the note we have here, let me actually pull this down just a hair so I can get to um maybe I can.
Was Mark
Okay,
invited to this meeting?
Mark Burgess?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I just wondered if he was
yeah.
on.
Yep,
Wanted to
he
make sure he
is.
saw it. Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so if you and we should have this link available somewhere, but if you go to the project site and go to list of resources, you will find the guides here and the notebook. This is our cycle three was release one, cycle three was the ETPL pre-screening, and that's that UAT guide. It should be easier to get to for everybody. This is today we'll work off of release three, cycle two, which is training plan submit. Doesn't mean you don't still have time. Um, we definitely want you to make sure you get all your comments in. I'm gonna go straight to the notebook. If I hit that, it would take me right here. If you all remember,
Sorry,
go
another
ahead.
question, Al. When is the UAT due? Because I know I haven't looked at it yet. And I wanted to make sure that the grant managers that Lisa wanted to do the testing have gotten theirs done as well. So,
Okay. We usually have Tuesday after, which would have been yesterday, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'll collect for another week is fine.
okay.
Um,
All right.
yeah, we usually go from Wednesday to Tuesday, but
Okay.
hey, I'd rather have people get a chance to get their hands on it than anything else. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And I did get your updates on, I was able to get to that now. Well, you attached it
Okay.
for the info boxes for ETPL,
Uh-huh.
for types, and I'll get those in soon. Okay. Okay. So I didn't really
Hey,
have too
Al, I'm
much.
sorry, real
Go
quick
ahead.
for on the ETPL, just want to flag in a managers meeting that we had this week. We do need to at some point talk about incorporating like a private note section in the ETPL as a way to kind of monitor complaints, things that might be under investigation. In the participant screen, we've got like a private information section, and so we want to mirror the same thing on the training provider side.
Okay. So would that be by program or by provider?
I would say probably by, well, that's a good question. By provider.
Okay. Let me just capture that real quick before um before I lose it. Okay. Okay. So we need um a notes section, right?
Hmm. That
Okay,
has
I'm
to
going to
be
show
private though.
private to
Private to
ETL
us.
coordinators
Yeah,
and
to the ATPL coordinators and then the state level.
not the LWEA level, just the state level.
What is it? What's the
The,
next
the,
section for?
well, the ETPL coordinator is at the local level.
Both, obviously both. Okay. Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay. And
Somebody else.
then and then
What's the note section for?
So we've been having several ongoing concerns. One that is actually wrapped up in the court system right now, where there's issues or concerns with the provider, and maybe there's a complaint or investigation, things that are taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And we really need to be made aware of it at the state level.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not consistent with it. So there's actually like there's inconsistency with notifying us. There's inconsistency with communicating updates.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to make sure that at the state level, we're kind of taking note of that and keeping track of it and having that communication centralized somewhere. So even if there's an issue with one LWIA, if they're on the state ETPL, the other local areas need to be aware that there's concerns or something that's taking place under an investigation before they continue plugging people into a program.
Right, well, we've addressed that in the policy and we've also created a new status. So if they are under investigation, we can put them in that status and that will let other local areas know that that there is an investigation on that provider. But the notes section, I'm sure that would be fine.
Yeah, I mean, the
Okay.
terms, like the status doesn't really give us a story, right? It doesn't allow us to track the communication and what activity,
Because they're
what's
supposed
taking
to
place.
contact the state ETPL coordinator. That's what it tells them in the policy.
We don't have any,
Because we
I
have
don't have
one
any,
generic ETPL coordinator email address at the state level. They're not emailing a specific person. It's a general mailbox.
I don't have a problem with that note thing on there, but
Yeah, no.
I may ask one more thing about that. This is not also, it's not going to be for provider user view, correct? Just
Correct.
the
We do not
ETPL
want the
coordinator.
provider to see it. Yes.
Right. And um um is it okay just to have notes added but not edited? I don't have a problem with that in them, but we just I got we'll come back and hit this. We
Yeah,
actually
that's
have
fine.
we actually have this capability in grant management to talk back and forth between the grant managers from the LWIA and the it's just a kind of a way to communicate back and forth about the grants. Who knows if we'll use it or not, but it's there. I'll show you that next time. Maybe I think that'll work, that component. I think that'll work fine.
Yeah. And that's fine,
So
Laura, if they're using that general inbox, but like we need to centralize that communication somewhere so that way, because when there's issues, it impacts multiple different areas.
okay. Well, so I'm assuming you're also saying planners will be able to see that or no?
I don't think career planners need to see that, no, but the
Okay.
ETPL
Okay. Okay.
coordinators do.
Okay. Okay. All right. This was the example reporting that we copy in each time if anybody wanted to use it. I only kept this morning when I looked, we only had, well, we got a few more now. So um, this particular one here was a comment about uh, information that's going to be on the training program, not the, remember before we get to our demo today, this is the pre-screening is what this is. And this was on the provider description page. They ask about information that's basically at the training program data. These came in a little later in the day. I haven't looked at them. I think we should be able to shore a bunch of this up. This looks like provider descriptions with our new um, info bubble. And then I'll take a look at this one here. I'm not gonna shoot from hip on this one. um, Nothing there. This is the higher education piece. No, nothing new there, and nothing there. So I haven't. I mean, I don't suggest that it's that good. So I'm pretty sure that we need more people in it to look at it. So that's from last week. Okay. Now, if we looked at, whoops, let me go back to, if we looked at this particular guide here, then we would be looking at this. Okay. All right, same information. I'm not going to bore you to tears through this on what we do in UATs, UAT sessions. Uh, I had through April 30th, actually on this one. The other one can be taken to this date too. That's fine. It has the link in there. It has the notebook link in here. Everybody that's going can help you. There's an email. You could email those kinds of things. Okay. And then talks about the pages and all that good stuff. All right. So basically, this is creating a training program. There's a couple ways to do it. One is off of the entity level, and another one's off at the location level. Either way is okay. It's the same. If you do it off the entity level or the location level, you can still select all the locations you want that training program to apply to or be associated at. So if we go to, and we're going to get into this, actually doing it here in a minute, but in the entity, which in this case is a training provider, right? In that page that has the details, there's a grid of all the training programs, and then there's a way here to add a training program. There's also the capability from this page, once we get this completely connected, we've got all this done, but is to view the ETPL pre-screen data just by clicking on that, and that'll show you, I should be able to show you that. So that first page is the program of study. We have the name, the description. Every field on here is actually required, and we want we really want this page to be completed to save the program. Obviously, the program name has to be there because we have to put something back in the grid if you save and get out. Okay, so this is let's try to be as fluid as possible. In other words, once you get that page one done, then all pages, you can go use these links to get back and forth. You can use the next and previous button. Obviously, the first page only has a next. You can save and exit, come back later. We try to make this as easy as possible to work over time because we don't know how someone's going to work through this. If you have on this first page, it's a registered apprenticeship program, then you will see a registered apprenticeship program link come up here, and that'll be your second page. If it's a pre-apprenticeship program, then as opposed to having a wrap link, it'll have a pre-apprenticeship link. You'll get to see all that in a minute. If it's not either one of those two types, then there is another page that comes up, which is the cost page, because we don't have a detailed cost page for wrap or pre-apprenticeship, but we do have it for all the other programs. So the second page is kind of depends upon what you select here. That's another reason why this page is very important. You have a zip code here, and then I don't see it, but you'll have a location section to select the locations. Okay, the registered apprenticeship page looks like this. I gave an example of some errors and stuff like that, but registered apprenticeship, it always shows you what you're on. If you haven't got one of these green check marks, then that means you still have fields to complete on those pages. So that's what I'm saying. We can go to any page, and it keeps track of what's done and what's not done. And it does not allow you to submit until all the pages have green check marks. There's the pre-apprenticeship page here. And then you go right down through. If you there's the outcomes page, and then cost page, which is actually before outcome. No, I guess outcome before cost. And then there's your ability to put in all your fields for cost. There's the bottom side of that, which gives us financial aid assistance capability. You come down instructional hours. It's either credit based program or clock contact hour program. And then you have a couple fields there, which depending on which one you select, there's an information section here about what a clock contact hour is. Then we have entry level requirements. This is a single select field, so it's got to be one of those. Down here, Now, if this is yes, then there has to be at least one of these prerequisites selected. If one of these prerequisites is selected, you got to have a description here. So if this is no, you do not have to have an area there. This is optional too, which is one or more other physical exams or require other requirements. And that's all the description about that. Program offerings. How is the program offered online, in person, face-to-face, hybrid? And then all the other types of program offerings on that page. This one is required. Then we get down in here to the ONET codes. Just we are enhancing the ONET codes from our last week discussion. Right now, it's just you add ONET codes, but it's going to get back to right now. We got it in development. We're getting a primary, a couple secondaries, and 3 others. So we're getting that built into here this week. So in a week or 2, we'll get to see that, show you that too, and you get to mess around with that a little bit. All right, and then performance page, which I don't, there it is. If you don't have, you have to select this. If you don't have any performance, then gives you a little information and there's nothing required. If you do have performance, then it gives you different information. And then if you do, you have to have at least one of these columns filled in. There's a way to download a template and import it for that data and
Now,
feature
are we
data.
gonna import from here?
Yeah, we can't. This particular page, we're going to have linked at a different spot too, right? So later on down the road, you can just actually add performance. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just kind of setting that up for advance. Then we have, there we go. This assurance and certifications page. These have to be yes. When you check this one here, then these all get checked. It's just kind of a visual to show you, oh, I had this particular one, I agree to all this stuff. Same way with here, you check this as yes, and all these get checked automatically. So you don't have to check each one of those, and that's, but it does show that they're checked, so you can kind of see that happen. So you can say, oh, wait a minute, I agreed to all this. Okay. At the last page, which is our submission page, it has an attestation. Each time you come to this page, when you're in an edit mode, you have to type in this right here. And when we get our login complete and all that, then that name will have to match the name that matches the current login. We'll capture that data automatically when that gets changed. Right now, it's not because we're not logging in, it doesn't have that check yet. But once that's typed in, then, and all these other ones are checked as green. In other words, all the fields are filled out that have to be filled out, then this submit button will work. Okay, now what we're not going to do yet is the workflow process. I'll show you a couple things around that, but we're going to do that in a whole different UAT session, mainly because that's a kind of a separate thought process on how this flows from submission to local, if it's in-state, submission directly to the DCO ETPL coordinator, if it's out of state or virtual only, and then how it flows from the local and the reason for it is a bunch of, we have, as you know, you gave us a bunch of not only status selections, but reason codes. And then we can show you then too, when we show you all that, we can show you the temporary revocation, which is, and that has some statuses too, which says, hey, we're going to revoke this program for now and review it. I don't know what you call that, whatever review you call that. Okay. We're ready to show you this. Let me look up here. Did we have any? Okay. All right. So I'm going to move this over to our site This is our UAT site. All right. This is going to be here. And the main reason we're not ready to UAT this either, but it's temporary also. It's just for testing purposes. But basically, that ETPL pre-screening, when you go from that and you create the pre-screen data and you are successful at doing that, right? Then your provider, which is really a new provider, and your email record are tied together. And in real life, in production, we send that person through a process to get their Okta account and all that. And then when they log in the first time, they get to a page that is the finishing the add of the provider record. Okay. I'm going to show you all that soon. And when you add the provider record, then you can add locations, contacts, and then start adding that. This is a simulation of that because we don't have the login process all in here yet, but this would be a simulation of that. If we typed in an email, I don't know if this is, if I still have one here, and then added the provider here, it's going to bring in whatever that provider and that FEIN is that we typed in that pre-screening, and it's going to do this duplicate provider check, nothing there, then add provider, and you're going to add the provider and location. Okay, so that is from a provider's point of view, right? So obviously all this, when it's added like this, would be in a pending state, and it should get reviewed when the training program gets reviewed. So that when that training program, if it gets approved, that first one, then we'll move this record into a permanent state, so to speak. So we'll look at this later, but I just wanted to make sure you knew this is, you don't have to worry about this right now. What you are going to do is go to entity management. You can work with any of the test data. There's actually quite a bit of data in here. Providers, we put these providers in quite a while ago, moved them in, but you can work with any one of these. You can also, as you know before, do the search however you want to. Let me go here. So this is the entity page. And like I said, if you scroll down here to training programs, then we can add a training program. Okay. Once they get added, they're in that list will show pendings or approved. There's two different lists there on the entity. I should have showed it. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. This is the first page, program of study. I'm going to try to take a happy path through this. Let's do a diesel mechanic. And this will get checked with that checker capability that you guys talked about to make sure that's legit. Oops. There's my website. This allows you to put in the year of that. This is not going to be we're going to start out and just do a regular program. It's not going to be a registered apprenticeship. It's not going to be pre. And when you notice, when I hit that, then it jumps in and gives that cost page, and it doesn't have either of the other two. And we're going to add a zip code here. Probably one in here. I'm just going to search it that way. There we go. And then these are my locations. So I'm going to say these two locations are associated with this training program for diesel mechanic. This looks like this is a computer one. So I'm going to skip that one. Okay. That takes us to outcomes. Okay. Outcomes. what is the primary outcome of this program of study? Is this section the primary one in here? It's probably a certificate, could be a certificate. Let's say employment there. Let's say certified diesel mechanic. And let's say that is automotive excellence AE, something AE. I can't remember who certifies those, but
ASC, here,
ASE
automotive service excellence.
service excellent. Thank you. I knew somebody like that. Okay. I'm going to say they don't provide. If they did provide, I'd put that description there. Let's just say it's just all right. Costs. We have tuition, books, fees, tests, other expenses, total cost. And so I'm going to say that program is like 1,800. Let's just say there's 100 books, 50 in fees, 50 in tests. Let's say there's another, I don't know, 600 in tools. Who knows? Okay, 2,600 is the program cost. And I'm just going to say this is where we would say, like, kind of like, where do you buy this stuff? Who do you pay? Where do you get the books? Those kinds of things. I'm just going to say all items are purchased for now because I don't know any better. Okay. Is there any, let's just say there is an institutional scholarship. Let's just say there's an ASE scholarship. Who knows? If, oops, I'm sorry, put it at the wrong spot. This is refund policy. And let's just say, refund wise, let's just say full refund within 2 weeks of the start of each course. All right. Instruction hours. Okay, is this credit hour based? No, this is probably not. This is probably a clock hour. Just probably about how many clock hours? This is probably per week. I don't know. It might be 40, but let's just put 20. How many weeks? Let's just say 15 weeks to complete the program. I doubt it's probably longer than that. This explains that. And then the next thing, what do we need? Let's just say we need a high school diploma. We could say, yes, we need basic algebra. I have no idea. Reading, maybe. I don't know exactly what to put in here, but I think no idea. There might be something specific you guys know better than me. Let's just say there is nothing here. And then describe the application procedure for this program. This is an optional field. Identification. I have no idea. All right. Program offerings. We're going to say this is an in-person face-to-face. Provide additional information regarding program offerings. We can say we can offer it full-time or part-time, not an open entry. Probably labs, there's probably this, probably this, there's probably this. Okay. ONET code. We'll go over here. This will end up changing. For now, we can search and provide idea. Might be something in here. All is in there. Eventually, there's going to be a primary, secondaries, and other. So that'll change a little bit. This one here is our performance. Just to make it easy, I'm going to hit no. And then assurance of certificates, like I said, this says yes, or facility is program accessible to all people, of course. And yes, as you can see, those are all checked, and each one of those, hopefully they can read those. Same way here. Acknowledge they fully comply with additional provisions, and there's all those additional provisions. That gets us to here. Everything's green. This should have a green check mark. I'm not sure why it doesn't. We'll look into that. And then I'm going to submit the program. And if everything goes right, it'll send it. Which, not sure about that. It saved our fields along the way. I'm not sure why that's not saying. I just saved before I came in here. Good question. Saved. Well, they just put something on in UAT or what? I'll have to check this later today. Yeah, this was working fine about 5 minutes ago. So anyway, so that's how this program works. We can go around, jump around in it. If you have a required field that's not there, it will I said that and it did not do that. Yeah, there's something, hopefully they're not deploying right now, because when I was working with it before this meeting, everything is working fine. So I'll find out what's wrong with that. But if you do not have it will let you go forward, but it'll also give you that red and allow you to check second again. So it's being a little contentious right now. So okay. Okay, so Kelly, you said for UAT we're adding a few additional testers, expand the group, for example. Okay. Do we have that list, Kelly, of names that we need to send us stuff to?
I'm not sure. Sarah was previously
Yeah,
coordinating all of
we
that.
can,
Go ahead, Laura.
yeah, we could get some from Sarah from the ETPL work group.
Yeah.
Several good
Okay,
ones.
can you make sure we get that
Rory.
to Kelly and Taylor for now too. Taylor's kind of onboarding Kelly on that area.
Not me, Kelly. There's another
Kelly,
Kelly.
Kelly Trimble, my fault. Yeah, we have two Kellys now. Kelly
Yeah.
Trimble, kelly.trimble@siu.edu, and Taylor, of course, for now. I mean, you can copy all of us, doesn't matter. You can, but that'd be good.
And then definitely
Okay, really
consider like a training provider or two.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a good idea
Yeah.
about that one? Good.
Yeah, like National Able, like they would be a good example, because they're on the ETPL. It's just we want somebody like we want actually
Yeah,
a training provider to go through this and be like, what are you talking about? Or this looks great.
that's a great idea. Oh, that'd be super if we
Right,
could.
and to, yes, Christy, however, that's, yeah, now, but in the future for IWDS 2.0, they're going to be entering into the new system. So it would be good to get their perspective on what it will be like in the future. But yeah, I put 3 names in the chat. Rosa, which is who Christy's talking about from LES 7, probably. Rory, from LES 6 and Crystal from LES 14. Those three are usually pretty good as far as our local ETPL coordinators that provide great feedback.
Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing because we have time. So, Kelly, you were talking about notes. So in grant management, there's a notes section, and we can put that section in the provider too. And we may want that anyway in that entity management details. Just maybe not just ETPL. Okay, so you add a note. It's real simple. There's not a whole lot to it, but and you could save it. It comes in here. This will be the author. We haven't got that hooked up to the login yet, but that'll be the author's name of the note. That's the note. If it's a large note, then there's a expansion thing for it. This, don't worry about this. This is not the status of the note. This is the status of our grant. But it would have the created date, the note, text, the author, ability to go through. So if I wanted to, and I believe it stacks them if I remember right. But I think something like this will work. It's really simple, not a whole lot to it, but it stacks them in reverse order. But you could see if you think that'll work, we can add that component, reuse it for capturing those notes you were looking at.
Yeah, I think that's fine, just as long as it's restricted by roles.
Yeah, we'll only show this by role, and we'll only allow. You'll have to tell us, but whenever we get to the user role stuff, management, you'll have to tell us who you want to be able to create one. But I just want to tell you, there's no added on these. There's just, you can just add another note and say, you know what, I was wrong, whatever. But that makes it real easy for us to deal with for now.
Yeah, I think that works. I don't think
Cool.
we need to go back and
All
edit.
right.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. I'm going to give you a lot of time back, so maybe you can go in and hammer around on ETPL, and I'll go talk to the developers and see what's going on with this deployment, because this was working 5 minutes ago. So,
Okay, so for
anybody have anything else? Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
so for recap, we need to, if we have not already tested the pre-screening, we need to test the pre-screening, and then we need to test this. And all
Yes.
needs to be done by next Tuesday, the 29th.
Next, I got the 30th on it. Next
The
Friday,
30th, okay.
next Thursday, I think, or no, that's next Wednesday. At the end of the day, next Wednesday, I believe that is.
The 29th.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get it in by Tuesday, we'll be able to have more to talk about in our meeting on Wednesday afternoon. At the least, if you get it in by Wednesday afternoon, we can pick up the last few that I haven't looked at. So in the notes. So
And I know that Lisa had wanted some of our grant managers from our other programs to look at this stuff. So is there, can
you
you send out?
does she want those for training, or just I thought she wanted those for the grant management?
No, well, I thought they were on this call the last time. So
Oh.
I don't know. We'll find out. And if so, then we'll need an email that's got this recording on it so they can follow.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll send out an email with the recording and all of the documents. So if there's anybody you need to forward it to, you'll have easy access for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Excellent. Taylor or Lynette, you have any other thoughts or anything you need to talk about? Because
You
we
just
have
said
plenty
yes.
of time.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good as well.
All right. So you got some time here. Go in and clobber that pre-screening, and then I'll give you a note to tell you when that other one's due or ready. I'm sorry, when you ready to. Thank you.
Thank you.